Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're counting down 20 shocking things you never knew about Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, 1960. From a composer who defied the director to write the most famous music in the film, to the version Hitchcock almost threw in the trash before anyone saw it, there's a lot more buried here than you think. Let's get into it. Fact 20. Hitchcock bought the rights to the novel anonymously, so Robert Bloch had no idea who purchased his book. He paid $9,000. Then he sent people across the country to buy up as many copies of the novel as possible so readers couldn't learn the ending before they saw the film. Norman straightens a painting on the wall of Cabin 1 and smiles at Marion, and the man who wrote that character sold him for $9,000 without knowing who the buyer was. Fact 19. Paramount called the source material too repulsive and refused to finance the film. Hitchcock funded it himself using profits from his television show, giving up his standard salary of $250,000 in exchange for 60% of the negative. He filmed at Universal, specifically to keep Paramount executives off the lot. Marion counts $40,000 on a hotel bed, and the film that made Hitchcock his own boss was paid for entirely out of his own pocket. Fact 18. On the first day of production, Hitchcock had the entire cast and crew raise their right hands and swear an oath not to reveal a single detail of the story. He also withheld the ending of the script from his principal actors until he needed to shoot it. Anthony Perkins spent most of production not knowing how the film ended. Leigh pushes open the door to the Bates house, and the actress walking through it had been kept deliberately ignorant of what she was about to find. Fact 17. In Robert Bloch's novel, Norman Bates is in his 40s, short, overweight, and unimpressive. Hitchcock threw all of that out. He needed audiences to like Norman, to find him sympathetic. So he cast Anthony Perkins, 27 years old, tall, thin, and handsome. Norman leans over the motel counter and talks to Marion about traps, and the look on Perkins' face is exactly what Hitchcock needed. Hitchcock called Perkins Master Bates on set throughout the entire shoot. Fact 16. The shower scene was filmed over 7 days for 45 seconds of footage using 3 different women. Janet Leigh appears whenever Marion's face is visible. Playboy model Marley Renfro was paid $500 as Leigh's body double for the more exposed shots. Stuntwoman Margot Epper played the silhouette of Mother, pulling open the curtain. Anthony Perkins was in New York, rehearsing a Broadway play for the entire week of filming, and appears in none of it. Fact 15. Bernard Herrmann defied a direct instruction from Hitchcock and wrote music for the shower scene anyway. After watching the assembled footage, Hitchcock told Herrmann the film hadn't come off and wanted to cut it to a 1-hour television episode and bury it. Herrmann talked him out of it and recorded the score during Christmas while Hitchcock was away. Hitchcock heard it on his return, reversed his decision completely, and doubled Herrmann's salary to $34,501. Fact 14. Hitchcock used Bosco chocolate syrup for the blood because real red looked wrong in black and white. Gallons of it were used across 7 days. His wife Alma spotted a problem in the edit. Leigh's chest was still visibly moving in a shot where Marion was supposed to be dead. The pullback from her body was turned into a freeze frame to fix it. The shower drain pulls into focus as the blood spirals down, and what the camera sees is chocolate. Fact 13. The censors tried to cut the shot of the toilet flushing. In 1960, no mainstream American film had ever shown a toilet on screen, and the production code considered it offensive. Hitchcock refused because the torn paper Marion flushes is direct evidence tying her to the motel. He won. Psycho became the first mainstream American film in history to show a flushing toilet. That shot exists because Hitchcock fought a censor over a piece of torn paper. Fact 12. To test the prop corpse of Norma Bates, Hitchcock had it placed inside Janet Leigh's dressing room without warning and stood outside with a stopwatch, listening to how loud she screamed. He kept doing it throughout production, placing the prop in unexpected locations around the set to keep the cast on edge. Marion's office colleague Caroline is played by Patricia Hitchcock, the director's daughter, who watches Marion leave with the stolen money and gets a knowing close-up from her father. Fact 11. Hitchcock refused every advance screening. No critics, no distributors, no press. He required cinema owners to admit nobody after the film had started, which was unprecedented in the industry. He recorded a message in his own voice, played on loop in cinema lobbies, explaining the rule. The queues that formed outside cinemas across the country became free advertising. The no late entry rule Hitchcock invented to protect his ending became a permanent feature of cinema culture that still exists today. Fact 10. Walt Disney personally banned Hitchcock from filming at Disneyland because of what he called that disgusting movie Psycho. The ban was permanent and never reversed. Norman wraps Marion's body in the shower curtain and carries it to her car, and the man who directed that scene was refused entry to a theme park by the man who made Cinderella. Fact 9. Hitchcock told the press he was considering casting Helen Hayes as Mrs. Bates to throw people off. Several actresses wrote to him requesting auditions. He never responded. Bates was created by mixing 3 separate vocal recordings: actress Virginia Gregg, actress Jeanette Nolan, and actress Paul Jasmine, layered together in post-production. Mrs. Bates calls out from the upstairs window, and the voice belongs to 3 people at once, none of whom was Helen Hayes. Fact 8. The knife never actually enters Marion's body in the shower scene. Not once across 78 cuts. Hitchcock understood the audience's imagination would do the work. The closest shot, where the blade appears to press against Marion's abdomen, was achieved by pressing the prop against Leigh's skin, denting it slightly, withdrawing it, and playing the footage backwards. Marion's hands slide down the shower wall, and the murder that traumatized a generation contains 0 frames of actual violence. Fact 7. Vera Miles had to wear a wig throughout because she had shaved her head for a different film that year. Miles had originally been Hitchcock's intended star for Vertigo in 1958, before becoming pregnant and dropping out. Their relationship was complicated by it. In Psycho, Leela Crane is the one who finds the truth and gets inside the Bates house, and Miles played the film's most important discovery scene under artificial hair. Fact 6. After the film released, an ophthalmologist wrote to Hitchcock pointing out that Marion's pupil is contracted in the dead-eye close-up. When a person dies, the pupils dilate, not contract. Hitchcock had tried fitting Leigh with special contact lenses 6 weeks before filming, but the technology required too long an adjustment period. After receiving the letter, he began using belladonna drops in all his subsequent films to create a correct dilated dead-eye effect. A medical letter about a corpse's pupils changed how Hitchcock shot death scenes for the rest of his career. Fact 5. Janet Leigh stopped taking showers for the rest of her life after filming. She told Women's World in 1984, "I stopped taking showers, and I only take baths, and when I'm someplace where I can only take a shower, I make sure the doors and windows are locked, and I leave the bathroom door open and the shower curtain open. I'm always facing the door." She specified this began not during filming, but when she watched the finished footage in the editing room. Marion faces the shower head, and the actors playing her never used a shower again after seeing what came next. Fact 4. Psycho invented the rule that you cannot enter a cinema after the film has started. Before June 1960, audiences walked in at any point and stayed for multiple showings. Hitchcock enforced a strict no late entry policy and recorded a voice message played on loop in lobbies, explaining it. The queues of people waiting outside became one of the most photographed marketing moments in Hollywood history. And a policy Hitchcock created to protect a plot twist became a permanent rule of cinema that nobody ever reversed. Fact 3. After Psycho's release, Hitchcock received a letter from the father of a girl who had refused to bathe after seeing the French thriller Diabolique in 1955, and now refused to shower after seeing Psycho. He had 2 films on his hands that had between them eliminated every option a person had for washing. Norman watches Marion's car sink into the swamp, and somewhere a father was writing a letter about his daughter's bathing habits. Fact 2. Hitchcock thought the finished film was a failure and wanted to cut it to a 1-hour television episode. Bernard Herrmann recorded the score during Christmas while Hitchcock was away, persuaded him to watch it on his return, and the film was released on June 16, 1960. It earned $50 million on a budget of $806,947. The film Hitchcock nearly discarded became the most profitable of his career and one of the most profitable films in Hollywood history. Fact 1. There is an alternate ending Hitchcock filmed and cut that nobody outside the editing room has seen since 1960. In the released version, the final image is Marion's car rising from the swamp, muddy, dark, closed. In the alternate ending documented in Stephen Rebello's 1990 book, Alfred Hitchcock and the Making of Psycho, as the car rises from the water, Marion's hand is briefly visible through the window, fingers spread against the glass. Hitchcock cut it before release. The version that went to cinemas lets the audience hold what they know. The filmed version showed you the hand and removed the last ambiguity. That footage has not been publicly screened since it was cut. Norman smiles at the camera in his cell, and the car rises from the swamp. And in the version that didn't make it, Marion Crane is still pressing her hand against the glass. If this changed how you see this film, hit subscribe. There's a lot more where this came from.